A very good morning to you and welcome. Sorry.
And then I got a job in Switzerland in the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology and Science, I think it's called. Then I left that job, I came back home, and yeah, I've been preparing for Indian Forest Service since then.
So, how did you prepare for forest services prelims specially?
So I personally didn't think there was anything extra in terms of material or anything you should do.
And how different is the prep of prelims from mains?
Questions are, the questions are less opinion based and more fact based.
You still have the photography page.
Lizards, because since you say you've done lizard ecology, if I got it.
A very good morning to you and welcome Anurag to Education and heartiest congratulations on clearing and holding the sixth rank in Indian Forest Services. So,
Thank you, Aditi. Good morning to you also.
thank you. So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in Odisha, and most of my schooling was from the state till class 12th. After 12th, I moved to Pune, where I studied in Indian Institute of Science Education and Research, ISOR Pune, which was a 5-year integrated bachelor's master's program. So yeah, most of my education is in biology with a specialization in wildlife ecology and evolutionary biology. So after after Pune, I moved to Bangalore, where I worked at the National Center for Biological Sciences, which is a unit of the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. Again, this was a position on like lizard ecology and herpetology. And then I got a job in Switzerland in the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology and Science, I think it's called, full form, ETH. And yeah, there I was working on climate change stuff, like how climate change is affecting lake ecosystems and the food chains in these ecosystems. So yeah, I was there for about under a year. Then I left that job, I came back home, and yeah, I've been preparing for Indian Forest Service since then. So 2019 was my second attempt. The first attempt was in 2018, and yeah, let's see what happens now.
Yeah. And may I ask what prompted you to leave your job?
A couple of things actually. I was a bit disoriented with how the state of academic research and the prospect of a career, like a full fledged career where you go on to become a professor or a scientist in this is. And there's so much cutthroat competition for the elite labs. And so, I wasn't also sure if I was particularly liking the whole process of being a scientist because I was like very narrow in what I was doing. A lot of depth, but was very narrow in the things you're focusing in. And then whatever you're doing, most of your work, it ends up in a journal that has a limited audience as well. And I thought I want like work to have a wider impact, to reach a bigger audience and to work at some grassroots level where I can actually make a change. So yeah, based on this, I made a decision. Now, when I can only know if my decision is justified going forward. Right now, I can't. But
Mm,
yeah, let's see.
right. So, how did you prepare for forest services prelims specially? Because as we all know that the cutoff is a bit higher than IS paper.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the cutoff for Indian Forest Service to write Indian Forest Service mains goes around 15, 16 marks higher than for civil service.
Yeah.
And this would probably be the biggest bottleneck for someone who's genuinely interested for IFS.
Mm.
So I personally didn't think there was anything extra in terms of material or anything you should do. It's just the same thing and do it better to minimize your mistakes. So I'd say one should look at it as getting 5 questions less wrong compared to what you would if you are interested only in the civil service.
Okay.
And I think that's possible only if you revise more thoroughly, like more revisions, and not there are a few parts that people leave out. So one should not ideally do that, because nowadays UPSC is asking questions from just about anything. Like those unsaid rules, like questions from ancient and medieval history, are not that important. Is gone now. So yeah, I think just it's just revising again and again. And I would say it's important to hold yourself to a standard that whatever questions come from the basic textbooks that everyone reads, that almost any serious aspirant is thorough with, you should not get questions from that wrong, because that puts you behind the competition. At the end of the day, you just want to come in that top 2000 who are going to write IFS mains. So yeah, just keep the competition in mind at all times, like what you should do to not fall behind that.
Hmm. Right, right. So what were your options?
My options was zoology and forestry, and there's no much explanation behind this. I mean, I had a background in zoology. I took that,
Hmm.
and even though I said curriculum was very different from what I had to study for UPSC. Like there's a lot of memorizing involved for the forest service exam. I mean, in general, civil service and forest service zoology is pretty much similar, almost identical. If I may say, maybe 5% doesn't overlap, but it's pretty much identical. So yeah, it was difficult for me because I wasn't used to like studying long hours after having been working for 2 3 years.
Hmm.
So forestry also, again, I mean, it's supposed to be a shorter syllabus,
Okay.
and it's concise, like everything you find in one book,
Hmm.
and you get questions from forestry in the interview as well. So yeah, I mean, there's no there's no huge explanation about why I chose those two options. Pretty straightforward.
Right. And how different is the prep of prelims from mains?
Well, I think it's very different personally, even for civil service. Like I personally think, like people keep saying like you have to integrate prelims and mains, and like how prelims is similar. So even though, how prelims and mains are similar, there are a few things if you're preparing for civil service, then like ethics, world history, post-independence history, society, these things are like not expected in prelims, but they are asked in mains. But overall, I think the way you're preparing, like a subjective and an objective approach, that difference is huge.
Hmm.
But coming to Indian Forest Service, I think if you can revise your prelims notes well, then that should be enough for the GK paper of IFS, because the the questions are less opinion based and more fact based.
Okay.
So as long as you're retaining things and you can compose a good answer, you should be fine.
So, Anurag, how was your transition like from being a full-time working professional to turning back to studies? What were the changes you made in maybe your lifestyle, and how did you cope through it basically?
Yes, so yeah, I was quite uneasy those 3 4 months, I would say, initially. And because I hadn't really studied properly, like sit down and prepare for entrance, that kind of preparation mode. And I think for every entrance exam you give in India, you have to, because the competition is so vast. And so yeah, initially I was trying, but I was still getting distracted by things like social media. And so at one fine day I decided, I used to be very active on social media before, and one fine day I just decided I'm going to delete all this, and I don't trust myself enough to keep control, so I did not deactivate
Yeah.
all of it, just deleted one fine day. So even if I feel later on, like let's see for 1 hour, then no, there's no option to go back.
Hmm.
But yeah, also, I mean, I did not think I was disciplined initially, so that's one of the reasons I stayed at home and prepared, because my parents were saying you should go to Delhi, because they keep hearing that for this exam you should go to Delhi or have to go to Delhi.
Hmm.
But I did not trust myself enough, because I mean, I was like, and I had like a bachelor pad life in Switzerland when I lived there. And like I had my weekends, I was roaming somewhere, and I just did not trust myself in Delhi. So yeah, if you're living with your parents, then make sure you come back home by 9 p.m. You wake up by 8 a.m. All that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mother now shouts at me for getting up at 10:30. But yeah, I mean, that's like those things are there. You have to use some things to your advantage depending on what situation you're in.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, after a while you get used to it though, and I must say it was a very, I mean, I had a liberating feeling not having social media or anything, being like completely by yourself. Because I think
Hmm.
like in general there's so much noise in life. After a while you get a hang of it, and you just have to keep trying. It's not like one fine day you'll just sit down and study 12 hours a day. You gradually get there, but if you keep trying for a month, like maybe after a month you get there. Like
Actually, how many hours did you start with studying? Like, you just sat for like half an
mm,
hour or 1 hour and then.
I actually have major attention disorders, so I don't think I ever study for more than like 20 minutes at a stretch.
Okay.
And I'd keep thinking of something or the other, but it keeps getting better. Like if I'm making notes or something, so I generally make notes mostly because I stay attentive when I'm making notes. If I'm reading, I'm very passive.
Okay.
I start thinking something here or there,
Hmm.
and yeah, sometimes you just have these phases where you're more productive, make the most out of them. So if I think I've been productive, I'll sit at a place for 3 hours, make sure I make
Hmm.
all of it. If I'm there are some days which are bad, so I just
Okay.
don't feel like studying on those days.
Hmm.
And yeah, but I did not count hours really. I tried to get up.
It's okay to be laid back at times, but then getting up back is more important.
I think you know the best for yourself. Like, I mean, this exam is so, I mean, there's so much diversity in topics, and like everyone will have some points they're weak in, some points they're strong in. There are like so many vast array of topics.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think it's important, like before diving into the exam, to figure out where your strengths and weaknesses are. Plan a strategy based on this. Like, don't listen to just random toppers talk, and they say they stay up till 4 a.m. So you being a morning person stays up till 4 a.m. to study. That doesn't work that way.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, figure out what you like, and more than that, you have to be yourself, because well, that's the only way. And more than that, it's, I mean, you have to be that person for 2 years or more in the course of this exam. So do you really want to keep copying someone for 2 years when
Yeah.
it's not in your comfort zone?
Right. So, coming towards the last leg of your exam, which was the interview. So, please share your experience. How was it?
Yeah. So my interview was on, I think, February 13th. Yeah.
Lucky 30.
So I moved. Yeah, it wasn't Friday the 13th though. It was a
Yeah.
Thursday. I
Okay.
missed it. Yeah. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I wasn't very confident about interviews because I had done badly in the interviews so far in my life. Like, especially the ones I gave in India, because you're expected to follow certain decorum, behave in a certain way. There's a huge panel of experienced people. Whereas when I gave the interviews abroad, it was, I mean, I gave one for Cambridge, did not get a Commonwealth scholarship, so I could not go.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it was so laid back. Like, people come and invite you, you're expected to share a coffee with them. You can sit cross-legged, you can wear jeans. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, but in India, there's a lot of focus on the peripheral things.
Mhm.
So more than anything else, I went for 4 mocks in Delhi,
Mhm.
and the whole process was that I do not want to like be surprised by anything in the main interview. I wasn't too bothered about what I'm answering or not answering, and in fact, the first mock that I gave at Dristy was a complete disaster. I had no clue what I was speaking. I mean, I underestimated the Delhi cold. I was shivering for like the first good 15 minutes. Yeah, I mean, more than that, I think I was just getting used to, like, like, I think much of this exam is about like treating that important day just like another day and staying relaxed. So yeah, it's not like I'll feel, wow, I'm wearing formals today. Wow, like this is some special day. I did not want to feel that on the day of the exam, so I wanted to get used to it.
Any unexpected questions that came your way?
There was one, I mean, but then again, they keep picking up on the clues that you gave in the previous thing. So I think I made a mistake in saying that I should have just said I worked on aquatic ecosystems when I was in Zurich, but instead I said lake ecosystems, which
Oh,
was they picked on that lake word and asked me how lakes are divided vertically and horizontally in terms of their layers.
Okay.
And I know these names, but I did not remember the exact order. So I just said, sorry, sir, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it was very, very cordial. And I mean, and comfortable. I think the main thing is that you should be comfortable, not casual in the interview. Yeah, it's like a conversation that flows really. Compared to the mocks, mocks I felt was like shooting questions one after the other. It was like rapid fire almost. But yeah, the interview was very much. I was very happy coming out of the interview hall. Experience was fantastic.
Okay.
I felt I've done well. Felt I've done like whatever I could, sort of.
Next, I would like to ask you that the DAF has a special, a separate section for hobbies. So, what are your hobbies, and what advice would you like to give to those people who have not inculcated one as yet?
Okay, so I think I have like two big hobbies. One would be wildlife photography, which is something I've been very serious about for like almost a decade now. Even considered having a full-fledged career in that, but then backed out.
Mm.
And there is football. There's a sports section also. So
Okay.
football goes in that. Like I played for my university and all that. And I generally follow like all the European leagues. Indian leagues not so much, which is bad for the interview. For the interview point of view, not being so aware of Indian football is bad. But yeah, I mean, so I would say for people filling their DAF, it's important to make sure that you're thorough with every word you put in. So don't put a hobby just for the heck of it. Like I really enjoy traveling. For example, I also have like a small travel blog. I mean, my work took me to a lot of places while I worked as a wildlife biologist, but I also like traveling for history and architecture.
Okay.
And but traveling just felt like I didn't know what chance I'd get from that. And I already had two hobbies, so I just did not put traveling as a hobby. And so many see traveling as a very elite, privileged hobby, like that only people with a lot of money can afford. You don't want those uncomfortable questions,
Yeah.
even though for me, most of it was behind a truck or hitchhiking with some driver or something like that. But still, like, no one gets your point of view if they don't want to.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, so I don't think anyone has absolutely no hobby. Like you can't go through life being interested in absolutely nothing. So I mean, if you like reading about certain things, like I mean, you might be interested in some sports or cooking or eating even. So, but be very sure to clearly put out what's the level of intensity in which you practice a hobby. So that, I mean, if you say you just like clicking pictures, don't write photography then. Because if you write photography, it sounds serious. And then if you ask like technical questions like, can you draw the ray diagram of a camera? Then you can't say no.
Right.
Okay. I mean, so, in fact, the interview panel tries to make sure it is around the things that you're putting out there. Yeah, I would say just don't bluff. Most important thing is to not like fake things there. Like the people who are going to interview you when they have like 20, 30 years of experience in the field. They interview about 100 candidates across different fields at that. I mean, you have the engineering service, forest service, civil service, this geological service, and the boards are similar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the board is not too technical. The boards are similar. So they interview all kinds of people across the year. So I mean, the first rule of the interview is don't lie, be honest, be yourself. I think you can, so, I mean, even if you're not very serious about something, then just try, like, you could say, I mean, you like reading about international affairs, I mean, in your hobby, but then you would have to be thorough with international relations. And again, I mean, if I did not have a hobby, I would not put reading about international relations at all, because I mean, what if there is someone from the Indian Foreign Service who has like on the board? Then it becomes tricky, because you can never know as much in 2 months as they have known over 30 years, right? They don't expect you to know in that much depth, but then again, it's tricky. So yeah, you should keep these things in mind. I mean, like I said, बहकावे में आके DAF भरना is a terrible idea.
Mm. So you
I
should.
mean, everyone's excited. Okay, I'm going for the interview. I'm going to write a lot of things in the DAF. This is my time to shine, but no, like moderation at all times.
Right, well said. So, coming to the last part of our interview, since the prelims have been postponed indefinitely, so what will be your advice or sort of words of wisdom for those aspirants who are like left clueless due to this lockdown?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that after the lockdown, when all this was getting delayed, I was thinking like, glad I'm not giving it this year because it's just it's a bad mental state to be in when you don't know preparing for. Like for so many of us, the biggest motivation is a deadline. We need a date to start working efficiently.
Right.
So yeah, I'll just say that still consider that May 31st is your exam.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's the only way to keep your intensity and focus. Then whatever extra you have, extra days, I mean, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, who knows? No point in speculation now. But yeah, I mean, when you get the schedule, just, I mean, the extra time can just revise better or go over something that you wanted to but could not because of paucity of time.
Mm.
And I mean, almost all of us, you and me, everyone who's listening to this would relate to this. That before exam, we all think, like, "Kash ek din mil jata, kash ek hafta mil jata."
Right.
Like, yeah. So maybe this time God has answered those prayers. So yeah, make use of the time till May 31st, and make use of the time whatever you get after it. That's all I would say. And I mean, all the best.
Right. Great. So on this note, we'll end the interview. Thank you, Anurag, for your time, and
Yeah.
all the
Yeah,
very.
thank you.
Friends, if this video is helping you in any way, please like the video, subscribe the channel and share it with your friends.